In the heart of a city that never slept, there was a man who dared to dream. Leo was his name, and his world was confined to the four walls of a rundown apartment, where the symphony of the streets below was his constant companion. The paint was peeling, the floorboards creaked with every step, but within this humble space, a universe of ideas was born. Under the dim glow of a single light bulb, he would spend his hours hunched over a small, worn-out notebook, its pages filled not with words, but with sketches, with designs, with the blueprints of a future he was determined to build. Each line he drew was a whisper of defiance against his circumstances, a testament to a vision that saw beyond the crumbling plaster and a skyline he longed to conquer. The city was a giant, indifferent, and sprawling, but in his small notebook, Leo was its architect. His journey was a testament to the harsh realities of ambition. With his notebook of dreams in hand, Leo stepped out into the world, only to be met with a chorus of closed doors and skeptical glances. He pitched his ideas to anyone who would listen, his voice filled with a passion that was often extinguished by polite but firm rejections. "It's too risky," they'd say. "The market isn't ready." Each no was a heavy blow, chipping away at his confidence. The days blurred into a grueling cycle of fruitless meetings, followed by long, solitary nights working menial jobs to keep his dream afloat. The city lights that once seemed like beacons of hope now mocked him, illuminating the mounting pile of bills and the debt that loomed over him like a storm cloud. His reflection in the dark windows of his apartment showed a man growing weary, the fire in his eyes dimming with each setback. He found himself standing at a precipice, the abyss of despair yawning below him. The world had told him to quit. His savings had dwindled to almost nothing, and the notebook felt heavier than ever, burdened by the weight of failed attempts. It was in this moment of utter darkness that a spark of defiance flickered back to life. He had one last idea, his most innovative, his most daring. It was a gamble, a final desperate roll of the dice. Gathering the last of his savings, he poured everything into creating a single prototype, a tangible manifestation of the sketch that had kept him awake for nights. The scene was set in a sterile boardroom, the air thick with tension. He stood before a panel of stone-faced investors, their expressions unreadable. As he spoke, his voice, though trembling at first, grew steady, fueled by the conviction of a man with nothing left to lose. The silence that followed his presentation was deafening, each second stretching into an eternity as his future hung precariously in the balance. Years passed, and the city skyline had changed, and so had Leo's place within it. He now stood in a sleek, modern office, a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a panoramic view of the metropolis he had once fought so hard to be seen by. The cacophony of the streets was now a distant, muted hum. The man who had once sketched in the dim light of a single bulb was now a titan of industry, his name synonymous with innovation. In his hand, he held the very same notebook, its cover faded and its edges frayed. He ran a thumb over the worn-out pages, tracing the lines of his earliest drawings. It wasn't just a book of old sketches. It was a relic, a map of his journey, a poignant reminder of the relentless dreamer from the rundown apartment. For it is not in the destination that a man's story is written, but in the arduous, unyielding climb to reach it.